Alright guys, welcome to Math Tutoring to Go. Today we'll be discovering domain and range. So domain is uniquely known to the x-axis, while the range is actually known for the y-axis. So just like on a coordinate plane, this is the x, that is the y. This would be for the domain, and this would be for the range. But there's a very unique difference between these and whether they are not included or whether they are included, meaning that whether you have a table or whether the situation is different, they're saying that they're uniquely using these values as part of their question. So another part of this is very important to know is that this parentheses right here is very known to whether, say as a parabola, this is going up to infinity, meaning that we have to use the parentheses. The parentheses are known for not included things. So because infinity keeps on going, to infinity, you have to keep on using that and not use the brackets. Brackets are known for including things. So you could say, let's say it stops around 1 to this 8. You can't say that the x values are going to 1 to 8 because of these arrows right here. You have to say that they're going to negative infinity to positive infinity as their domain. Another point of this is whether the graph has these dots right here. This dot goes to the parentheses, meaning it is not included. And then the closed dot goes to the brackets, meaning it is included. These are very, very important to recognize and to know whether you're getting a unique context or whether you're just getting a graph or a table. Like I said, domain, x-axis, range, y-axis. And getting to know whether it's included or not included is also very important. And that's for the overview. So for our first example, we're going to be referencing graphs. So right now we're looking for the domain and range. Like I said, domain is for the x-axis, but there seems to be arrows on both sides. What does that mean? Well, that means that as the x values are going to the negative, it just keeps on going. You don't include this -2 or any sort of graphs, any point values right here. It is distinctly going above. So it's going to be a negative. Let me move that down. And then this one also has an arrow, meaning as the x values keep on increasing, so does this parabola. So it'll be a positive. So the domain is going through a negative infinity to a positive infinity. But for the range, we're going to be using the x-axis, the y-axis, for the y values. So the least y value is this -3. That'll be -3 to, seems that these higher y values keep on going. What does that mean? It's positive infinity. So this is for graph A. Now we're going to move on to something a little bit more different for graph B. Okay, now this point right here is an open dot, meaning this -3 point right here is not included for the x-axis. So that means that for the domain, the lowest xy range is going to be 3. But right here, for the highest x value range, it just keeps on going. So it'll be -3 to infinity. -3 from here, infinity because of this arrow right there. Now for the range. Again, it seems that the lowest number is this -3, so it is included. And now the range stops right here, but because it's not included and the highest range is this positive infinity, we're going to rewrite it like this. Now for graph C. This is going to be a linear, to mix things up. The domain, okay, x values, we're looking for those. The lowest is this -3, but it's a closed dot. That means that this -3 is included. And then the highest x value is this 4, but it's an open dot, meaning it is not included. So we're going to be writing this with parentheses for not included, -3 with bracket for being included. Now for the range. This is using y values. Okay, this is a closed dot for -3, meaning we're going to be using brackets for being included for -3, and then the highest for this 5 is not being included, so we're going to be using 5 with parentheses. This is for examples with using graphs, finding the domain and range. As you can see, arrows meaning you're going to be using these infinity symbols without it being included, and brackets for when there's dots, closed dots for being included. So for our second example, we're going to be using tables. So as the domain, like I said, I'm going to keep saying this for continuity, we're using the x values. So we're looking at this part right here. We're going to be using the lowest, meaning -2. So -2. And because we're in this table and it's not being included with any context that's saying these values aren't being included or any sort of specific example like that, these are all going to be included. So it goes from -2, the lowest x value, to the highest, meaning 2. We're going to be using brackets because they're included. And now for the range. F of x is just equals y. Just like how you would write y equals mx plus b, we're just using f of x meaning y. Range, smallest y value. The smallest y value here is 3. 3 is included, so 3 gets a bracket. Now the highest y value, it's 7. 7 is included, 7 gets a bracket. But now for this one. As you can see here, these values are very different. This is a linear and this is for a parabola. This right here just says that, just like this one, use the lowest to the highest x and y values. Domain, lowest y value, -2. Highest, 2. Now for the range. You might want to say that the range goes from, this point right here to the point right there. No, they're the same points. You have to use the lowest y value, which is this 0. 0 is included. And then you use the highest y value for range, this 4. And this 4 gets a bracket because it's included. So it's very important to know that as you're looking for domain and range, it's the lowest x and y value to the highest x and y value. Don't just use this point to that point, the lowest from 0 to 4. And that's it. Now for our last example, we're going to be using ordered pairs. Domain. Now let's look at all of these x values. For right now, let's just write them all up. This goes from -3, that's a -7, that's 5, and then that's 10. So for now, let me just put these. But domain and range goes from lowest to highest. And this right here is not ordered from lowest to highest. -7 is smaller than -3, and this right here kind of looks fine. But it's very important to note that when you're just putting these x values into one linear sort of thing right here, that you make sure you sort them out from lowest, meaning, let me just write this right here, -7, -3, 5, and 10 for your domain. Now for our range. Range, we're using all the y values. So let's do it just like how we did the domain. That's 1, that's 0, that is -8, and then that's -11. Now, this is not from lowest to highest. So let's do that right now. The lowest is -11, that is -8, then 0, then 1. And this is it. Very simple. Just make sure whenever you're looking at ordered pairs, you're not just putting them into one sequence. You're going from lowest to highest. And that's it for this video. Thank you.